Measuring instruments are essential in a fabrication shop. Let's explore various tools and their uses. The measuring tape is used for measuring lengths and distances quickly and accurately. It's a fundamental tool.
First tool up is a tape measure, and this is really useful for cutting stock to length or laying out parts. I've had a lot of cheap ones like this in the past, but I'll show you a few features that I like on a nicer one like this. One of those is the white background. I think is a little bit easier to read for me. And it also, if you flip it over, has metric scale. So for those of us in the United States, it's nice to have both options. Now, it has a regular locking lever to hold the tape in place. But if you just want it out temporarily, there's a button on the side that can hold it in place, or there's one on the bottom. So these are a few features I really like.
The pie tape is specifically designed for measuring the circumference of round objects.
And this is a special kind of tape measure that has a regular scale on the front, but on the back side the scale is stretched out by a factor of pi. So you can wrap it around round items, and you can see we're passing the 1-inch diameter mark there. And you get the diameter, or the distance across the circle directly. So right here you can see that aligns with 1.90 to 1.91. So it's going to be somewhere around 1.905. And you check that, and that's pretty close. With that stretched out scale, you can really get an accurate reading by eye. If you wrap it around something larger, it's also pretty handy for that. If you have a pipe or a tank or a tire in this case, you can directly get that diameter reading right like that.
A speed square is a crucial tool for quickly marking angles on materials.
This is handy for a lot of things. You can use it to draw perpendicular lines, to draw lines at 45 degrees, or to draw lines at pretty much any angle. By pivoting around that point, you can line up with whatever number is along the long side, and this is at 20 degrees right there. And so that means that that line will be 20 degrees off of perpendicular, or in other words, those two lines have 20-degree angle between them. Now if you go up here, there's a ruler on the side. You can mark any length, but it also has 1/4-inch serrations that you can go ahead and stick your marker right in and then drag it along. And when you do this, you can get an offset line really quickly and easily. So I like that feature on this particular one. And another kind of fun thing, it has a bottle opener built in, so that could be useful. Now this is a smaller speed square that I came across, and I thought it'd be really handy because there's a lot of times when it's just hard to get a larger one like that in. And it has the same markings and angles on it as the traditional one, but another feature I really liked is there are known lengths of these legs at the bottom. And so if you wanted to make a line that's offset by 1/4 inch, you just use the one side, or offset by 3/8 of an inch, you use the other. So that's going to be really handy, I think. Now for more precise measurements,
a protractor is used to measure angles accurately in various fabrication tasks.
Next item, and that's a protractor right here. And when you pivot it around, it gives you the angle between the two arms. And so I'll just show how that's used here on this tubing. You can get the angle that this is put in at, and you can use it for round tubing or square tubing like this. I also like to use this to verify miter joints. Now you can see there's a burr at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and deburr this off camera, but I just wanted to note that if you have a burr with any measurement technique, you'll probably be off if you're measuring to that. So now that it's deburred, I'll check it, and even though it looked like 45 degrees, it's actually 50. So I need to correct something with my saw so I'm not filling a big gap, and you can see that this is verified here on my speed square. Also, along the edge, there's a scale, and I don't really use that, but it could come in handy for you.
Angle blocks are utilized to create precise angles for joints and connections.
Little block. I use these quite a bit. I have a few of them, and it's really handy. Basically gives you the angle that it is off of level, and you can see that this surface isn't level. It's best if you have a level surface, but if you don't, you can zero it out like that. But if you tip it, you know, one way or another, or rotate it rather, then you won't get an accurate reading. So make sure to just keep it aimed in the same direction if you zero it out. But we'll check right here, and this can be really handy for fabrication when you don't want to hold on to both ends of a protractor. You can't fit them in a particular spot. You just hold that with one hand.
Calipers measure internal and external dimensions as well as depths, ideal for intricate tasks.
Separate calipers, and there's really 3 types of calipers, and we'll talk about each one. These are Vernier calipers, and my dad gave me these a long time ago and made me learn to read them before I could use digital ones. But basically, those lines, when they align from the bottom scale to the upper scale, you can get a really accurate reading. Now with dial calipers, you use a combination of the number down there with the number on the dial, and digital ones just give you the number directly. Now digital calipers are inexpensive enough these days. I'd recommend just going with those right out of the gate. I hold them like that, and make sure that when you start out that you have clean anvils on them, and then go ahead and check and make sure that it zeroes out and returns to 0 so that you'll get an accurate reading. Now there's a few ways to use them. The first is to measure outer diameters, and so use those anvils right there, and you can get a pretty accurate outer diameter measurement. The next is to check inner diameters, so use the others on the top there to get in, and the last is to check depths, so you can use that to check the depth of a blind hole, just like this. So lots of uses for calipers. Another feature on this is it has a fraction function, so if you're used to coming from carpentry and used to working in fractions, you can do that, or you can change it to work in millimeters, which just makes a lot of sense.
The height gauge is used to measure vertical dimensions and ensure accuracy in height adjustments.
Now last of all is a height gauge, and this is really handy. It basically tells you the height off of a reference surface. So I'll kind of show you what I mean with that. So let's say I had this piece of tubing here, and I wanted to set up a fixture to put this piece at an angle and have it aligned with the center of that tubing. So I need to know the difference between the two. So I'll set the height stand here, and I'll press a button, and that will set the height to 0. Now when I go up from that, I'll know how high something is off of that surface, and I can check there, and it looks like it's about a 1/2 inch. So I need a 1/4 inch shim underneath this. So I'll place a 1/4 inch shim there, and then I'll go back over to that smaller piece, and I'll check the height and set it to 0 there, and then I'll check and see, and now I'm a 1/4 inch off. So I know that it's aligned pretty close to the center. Now I could do that with calipers like this, but you're really just checking one point. So if I check multiple points with the height stand, I'll know that not only is it at the right height, but it's sitting parallel with the edge.
Thickness gauges check the thickness of material, ensuring precision and quality.
Metal gauge, and this is just for checking the thickness of material, and it comes in really handy. It's easy to use. You just see which slot the material fits in. That's the tightest slot it'll fit in. And so this is 1/8 inch material. You can see fits in that slot. We'll try it with some 1/4 inch there, and that fits really well. And I like to take this with me to the steel yard when I buy remnants to see what size I'm getting. Now at the bottom, this is for checking MIG welding wire, and these are some of the common sizes, and you can see this is 030 wire, 30 thousandths of an inch, because it fits in there, so that can help you with your set.
Thanks for watching.